Up, everybody? Welcome to the Juice is Loose, number 67, the podcast that's first and foremost about video games and a heavy emphasis on having fun. And we're going to do that for you yet again, another week. Seems like we missed last week, and it actually worked out because we got a lot to talk about this week. So I only have two guests as of right now. Twilight Bites, you stood me up, man. If you're watching this, man, where the hell are you? Dude, you asked to be on, and then you're a no-show. So anyway, let's just go.
Juice is a savage.
Yeah. Why don't you go, Terrell? Why don't you go ahead and say hi?
Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here. We got some stuff to talk about. Let's do it.
And then making a return back to the Juice is Loose since he got his second job. Haven't seen him in a while, so go ahead and say hi, Mike.
Hey guys, NWR for life here. How you doing? Good to be back.
Is that Goku here?
Yeah, it's Resurrection F Goku.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Resurrection of F. That's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's how I figured.
All right, so basically, let's just jump right into the direct. I know a lot of people already discussed it. I was on the AGL podcast, number 54, I think it was.
Yeah.
We went through that. So I wanted to have a couple kind of mix up the guest list just so it wasn't a repeat of that. So Terrell, Mike, I'll get your guys' thoughts more because I already gave mine. I'll kind of recap it for my audience. I thought it was a good direct. We're not going to go through every single game, but just kind of like your overall feelings and then some highlights and maybe some things you maybe were missing or you didn't like. So I do want to remind people because it's funny, a lot of people take it on their personal, they judge the direct only on their personal taste, and I guess if that's your opinion, but the actual direct itself, I want to just make kind of light to this. They showed 30, or they talked about and showed 30 plus games in the direct, and some of them were just brief mentions, some of them were just updates to games already out, but they basically talked about 30 games, gave release dates to a lot of games that didn't have release dates. So on that front, I mean, it was one of the better directs they've ever done presentation wise. It was just flowed really well. And I just wanted to point that out for some people can't get past their own interests in, people that don't have 3DSs obviously were probably disappointed a little bit. But overall, if I just look at it like that, it was one of their better directs as far as content and information. But everybody, almost everybody here probably realizes or knows that I'm not the biggest RPG fan. And I don't really play too much on my 3DS, so taking that into consideration, for me personally, like I didn't get a whole lot of good information. Like 60-70% of this direct didn't really interest me just because of the genre of games they were talking about. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand. But I thought it was a good direct, even with the fact that it was almost all RPGs at the end. Basically, the last 25 minutes felt like it was RPGs. So so that's my quick take. We'll go to Mike next. Just your overall feelings on the direct, and I know since you love RPGs, I'm guessing you liked it more than I did.
Yeah, you'd be correct in that assessment. I thought it was a really great direct because there was a lot of surprise factor. There was a lot of satisfying games. Even for games that are already out, they had new content coming with updates, and I just felt like it was a heavily game-driven direct, and that there was something for everybody, whether if you're an RPG fan or if you looking for new IPs or whatever. They even showed a lot of indie games. So if you're like one of those indie game darling people, then there was stuff there for you. I was really satisfied with the direct overall, and when at the very end, when they had that huge announcement, that was just like, they capped it off really well. So overall, my opinion on the direct is that it was really good, and I think Nintendo really needed to have a good direct, and they delivered on that.
All right, yeah, that's my initial impressions were it was okay, it was good, but then when I thought about all the information they gave us, and That's when I was like, well, actually, that was pretty damn good. So before we get to Terrell's thoughts, we had a plastic doll join the podcast. Why don't you say hi? Because we're live. And we can't hear you if you're talking, Mr. T.
Well, no, it didn't say he's muted. He unmuted himself.
Yeah, so if you're talking, Mr. T, we can't hear you.
You messed up. Go back and do it again.
Yep, it's not working. So you might want to jump out, come back in. And then we'll get... in the meantime, we'll get Terrell's take.
Okay. I personally, also being an RPG fan, that already put me... This direct was already a good status before I even put anything else into consideration, just based off of being an RPG fan. I really like the pacing for this direct because it was really a rapid fire. They didn't really drag on one game for a ridiculous amount of time. I like the fact that they did do a brief mention of Iwata. They kind of just did it, and then they moved on, and it was cool. And we said, all right, it's fine. It's fine. This is probably one of the directs that had the most amount of release dates in it. Like, I'm not used to them telling me specific dates. I mean, most of the games either got at least a season, and a lot of them got actual dates.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike said, there was a lot of updates for pre-existing titles that are already out, and if I had to pick two games I was super hyped about, the fact that they're finally putting the original Pokemon games in Virtual Console about goddamn time, and Fire Emblem Fates, I pre-ordered that collector's edition as soon as the direct was over. So, yeah.
What you talking about? You're not mad that they're making you buy 3 games instead of just 1?
I'm a Pokemon fan. That doesn't make any sense. You cannot complain about the 3-game bullshit if you play Pokemon at least somewhat consistently. Because Pokemon has less of a reason to do it, and no one seems to mind when it happens there. So
yeah.
I don't. To me, that's ridiculous. I mean, Pokemon only offers like different, like maybe 5 to 20 Pokemon different from each version, whereas at least Fates is offering me different characters to use, a different storyline, and other content I'm not aware of currently. But still.
Yeah, the third storyline is probably going to be a completely new thing, without either character from the, like they'll just be involved, but it'll probably be a completely new combination setting about fighting a new evil or something. It's gonna be totally different than just playing one side.
Right. I'm gonna give Ms. T a chance. I heard him clearing his throat, so I think we're gonna hear him here.
Hi guys. Oh, did I clear my throat too well? I guess. What's up, fools? How you doing?
Good. So
I'm ready for that.
We're having technical difficulties tonight. We started late because Terrell's mic sounded like he was talking through a fan, and then Twilight didn't show, so it's a good start. But glad we can hear you. And like I said in the beginning, I already gave my thoughts on the AGL podcast about the direct, so I wasn't going to go too in depth. You were also on that one, but if you want to just remind people what you thought of the direct as a whole, and before we get into like specific announcements and games.
Yeah, well, briefly, I thought it was pretty damn good. The Nintendo 3DS is confirmed to be the Super Nintendo this gen, and got some nice RPGs like Terrell was just talking about, Fire Emblem Fates. That game isn't as necessary to be split up as, say, I don't know, Nintendogs and Cats, but
We're talking about
Man, I forgot about that too.
Nintendogs with the different
that
versions.
Dalmatian edition. Come on.
Bruh.
You got to get all the versions, so.
Well, we're just Nintendo tags, man. We'll justify anything. So let's talk about that, because from what I could tell, if you just bought one game, you're getting a complete story, and I would think to the conclusion, and then the other game is just from the other perspective of the other army, the other side.
Right.
So it sounds like they're both complete games. I know some people are kind of worried that they're not, but
Yeah, I was looking at.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say I was looking at the Japanese. Someone actually imported the game from Japan when it came out. I think back in June, and they went and reviewed it online, and the one thing they were mentioning is like, yeah, Birthright has like 30-something chapters, which is about actually a little bit more than a standard. Like Awakening had like 6 chapters less than that, just from its default story. So it's not like you're getting like small games. You're getting like fully fleshed out Fire Emblem games. To me, I look at this as one of the games being in easy mode because of the way it's structured. It's structured for like newcomers to Fire Emblem, and then the other one's kind of structured for like hardcore fans of the series.
And then the third's like a.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say the third one's coming later, and it's a download only, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like you're playing this might be a terrible example, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like Sonic Adventure 2. You have the good guy story, the bad guy story, and then when you beat both stories, you get the third final story. It's kind of like that.
All right. What were you gonna say, Mike?
It's gonna be like I think it's gonna be like an epilogue, probably. You know, like after whatever, like like you said, the first two games are gonna be one side or the other, but it's like there's gonna be that third story, which is probably gonna have, whatever the result is of the ending of either of those two games. Maybe it'll be like Link in Oracle of Seasons and Ages, where there was a combined true ending. Maybe it'll be like a combined true ending or something. And that'll be like where that third game takes place in, or where it starts up, because it's gonna be totally different from the other two. It's gonna be its own. It's not gonna be just a small little DLC thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not. I mean,
that's why they're packaging it with the collector's edition, because and when you get the collector's edition, isn't it cheaper too than if you would buy it regularly?
Yeah,
well, it's the same price, but you get extra stuff in the.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, remember, if you buy the first one, you get the second one half off if you download it digitally. And then the third one you get is already cheaper normally anyway.
But how much is it though?
Yeah, they didn't say how much.
I don't know. They don't.
It's $79.99, right? I thought.
Yeah, the collector's.
The collector's.
Yeah, so that's 40. I mean, two 3DS games is $40, brand new.
Yeah.
So on top of that, you get the DLC, I guess you would call that, the third game, and you get all the collector's edition stuff. So
yeah, it's cheap.
The deal.
Yeah,
I mean, it is
usually collector's editions are just way more expensive.
Right.
Like I'm looking at Fallout 4's $250 collector's edition.
What the fuck is that?
It's 87, the Fire Emblem one. 8709.
Oh, it's 87. Oh, okay.
Well, the list price was $79.99.
Yeah, that's probably. Tax, that's probably. Tax.
Yeah, that's probably with shipping and tax. Yeah, but
right. Yeah.
Tax.
So I mean, I guess the only complaint would be if the game comes out, you buy one of them, and it's like half of the normal Fire Emblem game. Like that would be something to complain about then. But now. It just seems like people don't trust Nintendo anymore, and they even with Splatoon when they promised everything and they delivered and then some on their extra content. It's just like
even when there's no evidence to not like there's not really been precedence to where, oh my gosh, they've done this or they've done that. So I don't know where the mistrust comes from either. But
it makes it even worse in this particular situation for Fire Emblem, because we have two other. It's like you mentioned, Pokemon and Nintendogs. They both do the same damn thing, and they've been doing that for years. Pokemon literally started like that.
That's what Pokemon started doing. So
yeah, so I'm like, how are you gonna get mad at Fire Emblem for doing it? But Nintendo's had a franchise doing this since it originated back in the late to mid '90s. Like, come on.
Yeah, because let's say you didn't want the digital version of one of the games, and you bought the physical for both. That's already $80. So the collector's edition gives you those games, the third storyline, and some really cool collector stuff for the same price of just buying the two physical copies. So It's not like they're really trying to rip you off and screw you over. They're just trying to make a little, they know it's a popular series. They had.
No, it's not.
I'll say Awakening was popular. Awakening was popular, and who knows the reasons. If it was just, hey, we can make some more money. Maybe it was a Hobbit situation. Hey, we should make them into 3 movies instead of 2, or something like that. I don't know.
Is there a half-off discount for like
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
if you
but
buy
you
one
buy-
and you buy the other digitally.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah,
a
then you
digital
get it for
version.
20.
So
Yeah.
that's, I mean,
Which
that's
is better than Pokemon. Pokemon
it's
makes
pretty
you
damn
spend
good, I would
money
think.
both sides.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, if I can, real quick. Yeah, you can make the argument that could be a different mode in the same game as far as like through the whole story, but that's a lot of game. And that is we're talking. What did I put into Fire Emblem Awakening?
I was gonna say
60, 70 hours.
Yeah, and I put like 140 because I played that
Right.
game twice.
Yeah, I know a lot of people did way more than that. So I'm just saying, like, on the low end, I think I'm on the low end. So you get that. That's just one storyline. Then you flip it and do a whole other storyline. You're over 100 hours.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, that's way more than one game. It's not like it could have just been another mode or something, I guess.
And just like all the cutscenes are going to probably be different.
Right.
And
Yeah.
just the file size, if they put that two together, would
It probably
For
would have
anyone-
been too big for one cart.
Not even just cutscenes. Even all the landscapes, places where your battle will be different.
I don't know. They haven't confirmed that. I would think it'd be the same battles.
Probably the same battles, but the cutscenes would be different, and the cutscenes do add a lot of space. It takes up a lot of storage on a cart.
Because in the I don't know, the easy version, the version where you chose to go with your blood.
You're talking about, I think, Hoshido. Yeah.
Yeah, Hoshido. I can't think of the names yet. In the Hoshido version or whatever, you're pretty much defending, your castle or your village or wherever it is, and you're in different areas. But when you play the other game, you're in the battlefields waging war against their defensive forces, and they have like different stages and stuff. Like they showed it in the treehouse. So.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure it wouldn't be just identical. So, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Plus, there's like all different aspects, in the games. Like there's more than just that. They went out of their way to make two different playing experiences. Not just two different stories.
Yeah, they really they could have charged $100 for that collector's edition probably easily, and people will still ordered it. So, but we're just Nintendo Defense Force, so we're gonna say that. But let's get on to some of the other bigger things. Splatoon got the update. We got one map already with 40 pieces of gear. Actually, put Splatoon in Friday and Saturday and played it. And had a blast until the servers went down Saturday, which sucked. But the new map seemed really cool. I didn't have any of the new gear available, but and then Triforce Heroes is getting a free content update along with Splatoon. So that's.
I gotta say though, Triforce Heroes is getting a really good update. They said that when you play a level in Triforce Heroes, you get like four levels in there, and then it's done. This new thing they put in there is like I think they said over 30, and so basically it's like a gauntlet type of match. 4 people working like through 30 levels with checkpoints and stuff. It's like a real challenge.
New items too, I believe I showed some.
Yeah, like a lineback costume that lets you see through chests, and the Fierce Deity Link one that shoots sword beams in 4 directions. Like they're giving some good content right there. And
Yes.
How much does it cost?
Free 99.
Free 99.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so you guys, anybody else have any comments on that? And then we'll also talk about how they said Splatoon's the updates were coming through January.
The only thing I need to say is that Splatoon needs to have an update where there's a donation button because it's getting fucking ridiculous. I'm serious. I really thought this is when they were going to start charging. And the fact that they aren't just kind of like, guys, at this point it feels like robbery. Like you can't do this.
Well, they finally put a cap on themselves, and they said like after January, that's when.
Well, they need to. They've been updating the game since it came out.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with how Nintendo uses online and the other companies do. Like, usually when the other companies are updating, it's because they're fixing something broken, and Nintendo's just giving you more crap for free.
Shots fired there.
Shots fired, son.
So wait,
Um,
are you saying that third-party companies release broken games?
On occasion.
But it's okay, you know, they still make Game of the Year nomination lists, so
Yeah.
Oh,
But
is that a
nobody's even beat the
segue?
game yet.
Is that a
running at
segue,
15
Juice?
frames, 15 frames a second, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think they meant by the updates will be through January? Do you think that means that once January hits, there's just no more new stuff coming to Splatoon, or do you think that's where the free stuff ends?
That's
I think the free stuff ends then.
Yeah, the free stuff, I think.
Okay. And King Grimpachi, dude, man, he made so many wrong statements in one of his videos talking about the direct. He thinks that that means if the game gets some kind of bug, like they won't update the game ever again. Like he thought that's what they might have meant.
I can't take that serious. I can't take it serious.
First of all,
No,
They're just gonna leave it broken.
no. You can't be that stupid.
well, here's how. Because he's a PC gamer. Update to a lot of people means download, and it's a patch. That's
Right.
what update means to a lot of people. Nintendo's using it instead of saying DLC. They just say a free update to the game, or content update. So they're just saying that the content updates are stopped. If there's some kind of bug popped up, which there really doesn't seem to be any, I don't know why one would suddenly come up.
Oh no, I've
They
seen
improve
it.
things. Don't get it wrong. They improve other little things, but there's
Yeah.
no like. It's never because there's a bug that is breaking the game or doing something crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen new glitches with the new map, but nothing that breaks the map.
Yeah, they will definitely patch anything if something happened to come up. That just means, I think it just also means that just the free updates are done, and then if they're gonna go forward with any more, it would be DLC. But I really don't see them. I think
Again,
there's,
zero precedent for that, but that's the worry. How can you worry about something that doesn't have a precedent on this console?
but I honestly believe they're gonna just be completely done, and they're gonna be starting Splatoon 2. I don't see them putting out DLC. If the NX is coming in 2016, I don't see them unless like May. They don't really have a game other than Pokken in the spring. That could be a filler for a May title, maybe a DLC pack or something.
That'd
But
be a perfect time for Mario Sunshine.
yeah,
Summertime,
Well, I
You
mean,
know-
it makes sense considering I think they said the same. A lot of people are speculating that's the reason why the Smash thing for December. A lot of people are saying that's like the last Smash-related DLC thing that's
It
coming.
might be. Yeah.
I think it is.
It needs
Sure.
to be. It needs to be personally, because to me, it's like at this point, I'm not going to want another Smash game for like another 8 years.
We ain't gonna need another one.
We're not
It's
gonna
like,
need one.
seriously.
Sakurai
playing
needs a
that-
break anyway, though. So
Terrell, Twilight, and I were playing that till 1 in the morning. We played it for like 4 hours straight, or 3 hours, and it's just I was having so much fun. It's like, obviously, the better you get, the more fun you can have. You're not just getting your ass kicked and struggling, but
but even when
It's-
you're losing, it's fun. Like it can still be fun. Like
yeah, I don't rarely. Only in 3 to 4 player matches do I have a chance of getting first. I never one-on-ones. I'm not, but it's just I don't see them needing another Smash game. Like they could just add stages and characters to this game, and I mean it would have been fine.
Well, I was gonna say
Doesn't
that was a thought that came in my mind actually when Cloud was announced. I was like, you literally run the gambit of almost every character anyone would want. Like at this point in time, there is no other huge heavy hitter that you can do without it being some legal ridiculousness shit like Master Chief or
Banjo-Kazooie or
like it had to be some. At this point in time, I feel like Sakurai could take like a decade off, and I really wouldn't give a damn.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if he'll even want to be part of the next one, and he must have to still be working on these extra characters. I don't think they'd just trust that to the team.
Right, but that's the thing though. Like, he didn't even want to do this game, Sakurai. He was going to be done with Brawl, and but he agreed to do this one. But he wants this one to be his last Smash Brothers game. So I think he's like putting in Cloud or whatever, like as like a grand, like that. That's it. You'll never need anything else. Like he's trying to make it spectacular so that he doesn't have to do it anymore. I don't think, and I don't know if he'll allow anybody else to take over unless Nintendo makes some kind of crazy deal.
Well, it's Nintendo's property. He ain't stopping anything on that.
Personally, I would like to see him do other stuff anyway. I mean,
yeah, I'd rather have him move on. I hope the team that he has in place is good enough to, continue it on. And he's ready to move on. Let him make what he wants to make now. So.
I don't know, like the way they say it, like Sakurai Magic, and like.
Oh, I get that, yeah, but money talks.
Yeah.
Like if they want,
Yeah.
if the fans want another Smash, they will put out another Smash.
I hope the franchise keeps going. I just don't know how he has, because I know I've heard him, read him say that he wanted to be done with it and that it was his, thing and he wanted to finish it. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
We'll see. Let's discuss a few other things, and then we'll come back to the Smash in a little bit. But let's get some of the lesser stuff out of the way before we talk about some of the bigger remaining games. So Pokken Tournament, spring. Then we got Fast Racing Neo, early December, confirmed. Typo Man comes out on Thursday, indie game. That's really cool. Excited for that one.
Mighty Number 9 has a release date?
Yeah, that was February.
Number 9 had like 4
February
release dates.
Yeah. If we can believe that.
I'll believe it when it comes out.
And then Mega Man Legacy, physical copy with a golden Mega Man. I listened to the Gamers at Large. You guys hit the nail on the head. They didn't even give him a different pose. It's just the same Mega Man.
That's cheap.
But with gold. And
they didn't do that with Mario either, I don't think.
Well, they had a different pose for the gold and silver.
Yeah, because it was the Mario Brothers line of amiibo. So
that's the same. Is that the same pose as the Mario Party?
Yeah.
Mario amiibo.
Yeah, the Smash has a fireball and stuff. So
the Smash looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So we also got Hyrule Warriors Legends release date of March 25th. And Linkle, new character.
I hate that name.
Yeah, I don't mind it actually, but her moveset looks awesome.
I'm indifferent, but I've heard a lot of people are kind of tripping on that character. It's like, because apparently the social justice warriors are going all out on it. It's like, this is just
should be Link. It should be Link, but
no. It's like, it's just Nintendo doing the Mr. Miss trope thing, where all you did was change the gender of the character and you didn't make her unique at all, and I was like,
did you watch the direct? She's completely unique.
Well, that, and for some reason people are like, this girl is canon now, she's going to be in Zelda lore.
Yeah,
no. It's a spin-off game.
Right. So because people were talking like that, whatever, I made a video on my channel basically giving my opinion on why, I don't want Linkle to replace Link or to be another Link and just to be her own character. So if you want to check that out on my video on my channel, it's on there.
Look at a shameless plugging going on.
Plug it, man. Plug it in.
I'm going to go get you a stripper pole in a minute.
On my ridiculously small channel. So,
let the man plug his channel if you want to plug it.
Man, no. All the plugs of Chibi Robo. We ain't doing this here.
I just like discussion over it because, I think it's like an issue in the Zelda community. About the whole gender thing with Link, and I have a really good argument as to why I feel like you'll screw up the story and the timeline and make a huge mess if you mess with Link's established character over the years. So.
Oh, you mean like Hyrule Historia already did?
Oh no!
Shots fired to Hyrule Historia.
Why would you do that?
I love my Hyrule Historia, so I don't know what you're on, but
I love it, but that timeline is kind of whack.
We're not gonna talk about that.
But let's
anyway,
talk about.
So anyway, just to finish up my thought for so Linkle, whatever, I think she could be her own awesome character, and I'm excited to see Nintendo make her a female hero that has nothing to do with Link and just can be a really cool thing. I don't think they're gonna put her in canon games, but I wouldn't mind if they did. Just as long as she's her own character with her own story and development.
Link had a sister in Wind Waker, so why couldn't he have a sister again?
Right. and make
Yeah,
a
yeah.
about
This is.
that
I mean,
name.
you gotta remember, it's Link. Link is just the whole. It's just a different incarnation. So it's like,
Uh,
hey man, it's just a different incarnation of a sister. What's?
he knew a few chicks from them games. What's the girl on Lon Lon Ranch? What's her name?
Oh.
One that plays a
Oh, yeah. I
song.
remember Link is a player. I mean, if any,
Yeah.
to me, looking at Hyrule Warriors was like Link is on some fucking G status shit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you know
'cause-
that the girl from Lon Lon Ranch is a rancher, and in Twilight Princess, who is a confirmed direct blood descendant of Ocarina of Time, that Link, he also grows up as a rancher. So there's a theory that maybe Link in Ocarina of Time got with Marin, the rancher girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
I know he's on pimp status, man.
Yeah,
He in the
and-
pimp status.
Yeah, there's is it Sia in Hyrule Warriors?
Oh,
That's
here we
obsessive.
go. Here we go.
Big pimp in a
don't care.
Hyrule Field.
I don't care if that's just crazy. I mean, come on.
Well, people are so mad. It was like, oh god, look at this. This is a Nintendo game. I'm like, develop the game,
It's
right?
Tecmo. It's-
It's like people are like, oh man, why all these ghosts in Fatal Frame have giant breasts? Develop the game, right?
Come on,
Just
man.
if Nintendo didn't have any say on Hyrule Warriors, just think of what Sia might have looked like without Nintendo's maybe restrictions on.
Oh, she
Well,
would have been a snake.
They told Platinum to make the Zelda costume a little sexier.
Mhm. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Hey man, well I was gonna ask, are we gonna get into that censorship thing that's been going on with
Well, I don't know.
Xenoblade?
But I was gonna say Sia would be in bondage outfit if it was just Tecmo on their own.
Probably.
But let's
no comment.
Let's get out of the murdy.
Where's my
waters.
lotion at though?
let's just finish off the Hyrule Warriors discussion by talking about if that content's going to come to the Wii U version as a standalone DLC, or for the people that bought the season pass, if maybe they should get a discount. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on the
I
Wii U
think
version?
Yeah, I think it's definitely coming, but I think it's going to come while after the game, until the game is out for a while, because they want people to buy the 3DS version. So once the dust settles down on that, they'll eventually offer it on the Wii U, I think.
I don't know, because
I
I
don't
mean,
think so.
yeah, because they're showing the Wii U footage literally the same time they're talking about the 3DS footage. Like when they show Linko, what's the footage they use immediately? They use the Wii U cutscene footage.
Right.
They didn't even use the 3DS footage. I think that might be like a same day situation.
Yeah, to remind you guys, there is 40+ million people who have a 3DS who don't have a Wii U, so it's not really going to affect the sales that much because a lot of people don't have the Wii U version, even though a lot of people who have the Wii U do have it. So I think it would be stupid. I don't think they should do that. I think they should drop it day one, same time for Wii U. Put the DLC characters on the Wii U same day as that version comes out. Because I think it would be wrong otherwise to do that.
I mean, we know it'll work because it's the
Right.
whole.
It's still going to sell. The 3DS one will still sell because it has an install base that's 5 times what the Wii U's is. So
It's going to be interesting because it's well over a year later, year and a half, almost. I mean, more than that even. And sometimes re-releases like that don't really sell that well. The Wii U version sold over like 1.2 million or something. So there's no guarantee that. I think it'll hit over 1 million, but it's at this late stage in the.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know.
it'll do that. I think it'll probably do about 500K. I think that's all it needs to do. They don't need to do more than that.
And then plus that, this is just how Tim McCoy handles their Warrior games anyway. Like they always release it. It's almost a yearly franchise.
Yeah, this is what they do. This is
But at
nothing
least
new.
they're putting new stuff in there because
Right.
if it was just straight port, that would be a bummer. But the
People
Toon
still
Link.
think this. People still think this is a cash grab, though.
Well, it kind of is.
But just think, I mean, only 1 million people out of the 10 million Wii U owners bought it, and with all the potential 3DS owners that wanted to play it, I mean, I don't think it's that bad of a move, really.
No, I don't.
And the game looks like it looks like it's fairly solid visuals and stuff.
It looks
Considering
really good on the 3DS.
it's not as stripped down as I thought. So.
Was Smash Brothers 3DS a cash grab?
Yes,
that was more.
exactly.
That was just smart. I mean, if you're gonna
So what,
and that was the start of what I think led to this, the Fusion and stuff, seeing that they could make a game on both and how difficult it was. That's part of the thing they said was how different the architecture is, and they weren't really planning. The two were just completely two separate divisions making things, and they didn't even think to make them compatible.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and there are some differences in Smash Brothers 3DS and Wii U, obviously.
Yeah.
So that could be the same for this. We don't know all the details on the game. It might have some specific 3DS levels. Like, I don't know.
We'll see, but all right. So let's talk about the Star Fox Zero, and April 22nd is coming out. They changed the font of the scores, the scoring system.
Best game of 2016, 10 out of 10.
And so, as I said in the AJL podcast, I watched it initially on the stream in 480p, so nothing really looked good. So it wasn't until I watched some of the analysis videos and comparisons, seeing the changes they made. The game got some better textures and a more advanced lighting system. But overall, I just think the game looked more action-packed, and with the release of that Japanese, it was like a minute-long video showing all just gameplay. The game's looking a lot better, but my initial thoughts were it didn't look any better. So I guess we'll just go online. What do you guys think of the new footage and stuff of Star Fox Zero? And we'll start with Mike.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it looks a lot better. I think that from what I've seen footage-wise, that the missions look different. That that even though it's like a retelling of the N64 game, which was a retelling of the original game, that at least they're gonna make it an effort to make it feel different, to make it look different, to have a wholly different experience. So they're polishing it up, and I think it looks great. The only thing I was disappointed with is I didn't see any indication of multiplayer or any kind of extra features there, which I think is a huge missed opportunity if they're not going to announce it before the game comes out.
Yeah, they got 5 months. I think they will talk about a lot more next year before it comes out. So how about you, Terrell?
I'm gonna say it was especially when I saw the Japanese footage from the actual Japanese site, because that was open now. That music though, that music is legit. And then going from that and looking at the footage and looking at what changed, I was never really graphically harsh on the game. I mean, I thought the game looked rough, but I was never like, oh, I didn't think it was gonna look drastically different in like, what has it been, like 3? No, it's been like 5 months, maybe 5 or 6 months. And then as we saw, because we saw the new, what was it, the snow stage. The snow-based stage, and you can see a whole bunch of enemies run around in that, and just see like the minor improvements in the older stages. Overall, I'm still happy with the way this game looks, and even if it doesn't have multiplayer, that's not going to deter me from buying the game, personally.
Well, the website already says there's going to be multiplayer. We just don't know what. If it's just going to be like one person in the cockpit.
I'm going to be smart about this and wait until it's announced, because
it could be one person. Like they mentioned, one person can control the cockpit view and one person can use a Pro Controller. So, and that would actually be fun, I think, because you don't have to try to do two things at once there. That could actually be pretty cool. But I do want to also say, like, this, the E3 footage, I don't know, I just was too distracted by everything else. But seeing that new Japanese trailer or whatever, like, I was like, that's Star Fox, that's like, I'm going to be playing the Star Fox game again, and it just kind of hit me. The excitement just came out of nowhere, and I'm just excited to control our wing again. And they showed like a space scene, there's all kinds of spaceships and stuff, and it wasn't just an empty open, space setting. So it looks like they're definitely adding more stuff, and they got another at least 3 months of development probably, or a couple months of development and bug testing, obviously. So Mizzy, I know you've been excited about the game from the first time they showed it. So what's your updated thoughts?
Yeah. My initial worry was what you mentioned with the action. Like, I think they showed Star Fox at E3 because they had to. Like, they had pretty much nothing else to excite people on Wii U at that point. And so they had to bring out the biggest gun they had, which is Star Fox. It wasn't ready to be shown. You could tell even the way they presented it wasn't good because they didn't. It was like you said, the enemies on screen wasn't there. You had that music playing. I just remember how it looked. You had the music playing, and you had the R-wing just slowly gliding along with barely an enemy in sight.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like really poorly shown. But they had no choice at that time because they had delayed Zelda, and there was nothing really else they could show. So this is what E3 probably should have been, like what we've seen lately. We see the enemies on screen. We see Star Fox have personality, like we remember.
That Japanese clip had a lot of dialogue in Japanese,
right.
And Japanese voices they seem way more fitting.
Yeah, I remember when they showed the E3 stuff, they were using N64 dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't even have the American, voice actors or whatever. So they were using like clips from N64, and we were like, man, this is really
because
stealing from N64. They're not really doing anything new. But what they were actually saying, the words on the screen was not N64 stuff. So, like I said, it was the presentation that was the main problem, and some of the textures were a little blurry, and a lot of I liked it, like even the buildings, like they look way crisper, way more vibrant than they did before, like the Corneria building, like blue. I remember like the blue building specifically, the tall kind of ovular-looking building. That looked a whole lot better to me than what we saw at E3. And like the overall action in the game has improved. I expect it to get better. I expect the online multiplayer mode, even if it's just kind of bare bones-ish dogfighting, kind of like what they did with the local multiplayer in Star Fox 64, but some online with that. And I want good online with the game, good online multiplayer. If it doesn't have it, I'm not going to lose my mind. But I think they probably should put it because Star Fox, that kind of gameplay isn't really big enough for a game today to justify just the story mode or whatever. So it needs more modes. It needs more stuff like that. So hopefully it'll at least have more modes. And
and I mean
the medal chase and all that stuff will be real because that's a big part of the game for me. Is getting all the gold medals. So.
Yeah. So and they could possibly add things and content updates afterwards. I mean, that's kind of their new thing. So we'll move on to probably the biggest reveal, and for some people, one of the biggest letdowns. Because as I said before the direct, don't let it's not like I was telling people what to do. I was just suggesting don't let yourself get too hyped for something. And Twilight Princess HD, I think, is a perfect example of that because. First off, people don't realize that Wind Waker looks so good because, like, it's cel shaded. It's an animated game, and that to make that in HD is going to look way better. And then because they probably didn't have to retexture everything, they did that lighting, dynamic lighting system in there.
Right.
For Twilight Princess, they basically had to retexture almost. It seems like pretty much the whole game, or a lot of the game, but. The problem came when somebody on YouTube got the bright idea that, well, maybe this was going to look like the 2011 Wii U tech demo for Zelda because that was based off Twilight Princess. So then everybody's starting to, let themselves fall for the hype that a HD port of Twilight Princess could look like that tech demo from 2011, which, I mean, basically they'd be making the game over, like from scratch. And a lot of people were getting excited about that prospect and let themselves believe it was possible. And then when they saw what really was the case was just basically a high-res version of the GameCube game with new textures added. They didn't really add a new lighting system or anything that I can tell. The game just looks basically the same. Polygon counts, everything's the same. It's just higher resolution as far as the visual department. So, I was initially disappointed watching it in 480, and then when I watched, better, higher quality videos later, I started to see where the improvements were, and the fact that there was all kind of the ground textures and a lot of different areas, foliage behind Link in one of the cutscenes when he's like putting his sword in his, or grabbing a sword or something, and you could just see a lot more like detail, like leaves and stuff. In the old footage, it was just blurry and green. So I've come around, and now I would love to have been that tech demo graphics. That would have been amazing, but that would have been basically like a full game budget, and that would have just been, I think, too much to ask of them at this point for the Wii U. So we'll go to Terrell first, and what did you think of Twilight Princess HD? What were your expectations? Did you let yourself get overhyped like a lot of people?
No, primarily because, for one, I haven't played Twilight Princess before. I had seen the Wii and GameCube version, and even looking at gameplay of those games, it looked so muddy. So as soon as I actually saw that the game was clear and I could see things properly, I automatically was like, "This is better. This is a lot better." I didn't have high expectations for it because I didn't really. I was never like, "Man, I really am excited about this remake." Like, there are other games that I would be more excited about. So it was just kind of like, "Oh, it looks fine." That was my response. Like, "Oh, it looks fine. It's cool." And then, I mean, hell, I was more hyped about the whole Wolf Link amiibo thing and then it transferring to Zelda U than I was about, like, "Oh man, it's a remake of Twilight Princess," because I'm like, I can get that at any time. Like, I'm not. That's not like a game I'm tripping on. It's like, well, if it looks great, then okay, and if it doesn't, I can go back to the Wii or a GameCube version. I got 3 versions of the game I can play now. Like, I'm not worrying about nothing.
All right. Yeah, I forgot that you hadn't played that one. So
yeah.
Meza T, I know I already heard your thoughts, but in case somebody watching this didn't catch your thoughts on the other videos.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just, again, play devil's advocate here a little bit, because I was kind of one of those people that thought it would be like a remake, because it's, first of all, that's not unprecedented. If you look at the Zelda games on 3DS, those aren't just cleaned up textures. They are remakes.
Mm-hmm.
They went in and I want to say ground up, but you can see the polygons are a lot more, especially in Link.
Yeah, they definitely
characters.
worked on Link.
Right. He's way more rounded, and he was a little bit more jaggy, or not jaggy, but more angular in the original game. So, I allowed myself to get a little geeked up on that aspect because, like I said, there's precedent, and obviously the high res Link they were sporting made me think that maybe this was a remake as well. But I mean, I'm not upset about it. Like, the game looks great. It looks way better than the original game. I know a lot of people in your head you see things differently, than what they actually were. That happened with Wind Waker as well. A lot of people were like,
yeah, I remember the first
time they thought it looked that good before, but it, a lot of people were saying that, Wind Waker, they up-resed it or whatever. It's still. That's how I remember it looking. But
a lot of people were talking about the Dolphin emulator looked better because there's no way the Wii U is as powerful as a high-end PC. But the Dolphin emulator does, I mean, basically it up-reses and it does have some processing or whatever that can clean up textures and stuff. But people were like, "Oh, the Dolphin emulator version is going to look better because I got a Titan graphics card and this and that," and then people were actually shocked to see the Wii U version just completely outclassed any of the emulators. So
I mean, I don't fully blame people when they think that, because your brain remembers stuff in high definition. You remember it differently than what it was back then. I'll put a game in today, I'm like, man, I remember this game looking better than this. But that's not the case. So because your eyes are retrained now, and so I mean I get it, but some people are just being ridiculous about it. So, but that's always going to be the case. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I pre-ordered it because it's one of the few Zeldas, like I said before, that I remember that much about because I only played through it once. because it's kind of my least favorite 3D Zelda game. So I'm looking forward to playing through it again, and it'll be different this time because I didn't play the GameCube version. I played the Wii version, and so that'll be different too. So.
And we don't know what other tweaks.
Right, I'm sure there's going to be gamepad stuff where you're aiming and you have the map and a lot of stuff like they did in Wind Waker. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and at first I was debating it, and then I said, well, I'll go ahead and pre-order it, and if the next time they show it, out like something about it, like they didn't give it the gyro controls for aiming and stuff, then I might say, okay, I'll just cancel my pre-order.
Yeah, you can always cancel the pre-order.
Yeah, I didn't want to miss out on potentially getting the amiibo and stuff, and because I'm pretty confident that they're gonna do some cool stuff other than just add an amiibo. So we'll have to see. Mike, I know you're a huge Zelda fan. Did Twilight Princess HD disappoint, or did it live up to, or how did you feel about it?
Well, I have Twilight Princess on the Wii, and my version is pretty much a big fat lie because the entire world is flipped, and I enjoyed the Wii controls on that game. I always found using the shield was easy to block, and I had fun with the game. But like Mrs. T was saying, I remember Twilight Princess looking great. The art style, I never had any issues with it. And then, I see these two versions, in comparison videos, and it just looks so much better, the Wii U version. So, in that sense, Twilight Princess HD looks better, and it's giving me the GameCube version, where Link is left-handed and the world isn't flipped. And there's no fairy on the screen, as a cursor or whatever. So, it's good because I haven't played the Wii version in a long time, so it's a good way to get back into it and see it in a better perspective. And like you said, I think they will offer extra things because I think Reggie said, more to be announced or something something to that effect. So, I would expect a boss rush mode or at the very least gyro controls, like you said. At the very least.
And after playing Splatoon for so long, gyro controls are going to be amazing. I'm hoping.
Yeah, and maybe they did a whole Link's crossbow training add-on game on the Wii version. To buy separately or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll make more of an emphasis on using the gamepad to play some extra mini games like that. You never know. Like they could do a lot of cool stuff.
Or throw that in as a mode.
Yeah, right.
Link's
exactly.
crossbow. Yeah.
Make the fishing fun.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that.
Yeah, the same way they cut out the Triforce quest in Wind Waker, or they made it much shorter. Maybe they can do something about the beginning when you got to get the fish and the cradle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And speed up the pacing of the game a bit.
They need
the Wolf Link amiibo not only looks awesome, but the fact that it's going to do something for Zelda Wii U, that suggests to me that Zelda Wii U might have some kind of connection to Twilight Princess. Maybe, I don't know. I can't even remotely speculate. You know what I'm saying? But if it has any kind of connection at all, or that would be some kind of mind-blowing thing. But even if not, like it's got to be something good. It's not going to be something like stupid, like scan your Wolf Link amiibo and you get an extra 1,000 rupees or something. It's not going to be that. I think they can make it better than that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they really want to make Zelda Wii U spectacular, and it's gonna be something good with that Wolf Link amiibo. But yeah, I pre-ordered it. I can't wait for it to get back into that game, to see it in a new perspective, to play the GameCube version of it, and I'm excited for it. So.
Yeah, that's actually something I wanted to mention. I forgot was I never played the GameCube version either. I've never actually even seen anyone else play it, and it does feel like the real version of the game instead of the flipped mirrored Wii version with the tacked-on controls. So in a way, it's like playing the original intended game for the first time for me. So that in that respect, it's cool.
Right.
But of course, there's people calling Nintendo fans hypocrites for getting hyped or talking about a remastered or HD version of a game when we criticize the PlayStation fans for basically getting a ton of them. And I just want to point out.
Yeah, I think you're gonna make the point I want to make. But go
Well,
ahead.
there's a couple of differences.
Yeah.
One, it's not like the Wii U just got all Wii games in HD instead of getting like Mario Galaxy HD or Mario Galaxy Definitive Edition, Skyward Sword Definitive Edition. Like a lot of the PS4 games in the first 2 years have been just the generation
Xbox
before
One
games.
too has definitive editions.
Yeah, and Xbox One. You know, this technically was on Wii, so I guess in a way it's like that, but as a launch title, it's really a GameCube game. But it's only the second one, and we've gotten over 20 new games from Nintendo on the system. I mean, there's sequels and stuff, but just new iterations, and it's porting us basically a 6th-gen game. It's not like that's all we're getting, and it's not, you know, it's the second one in 3 years.
And it's a 10-year-old game
And it's
from an SD era.
Exactly.
There's
I
difference
forgot.
when you're going from Xbox 360 to Xbox One or PS3 to PS4. Those are still HD. They're already HD. So HDer is a little different than SD to HD.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different, actually.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm actually Game Explainer just uploaded a Twilight Princess HD analysis, and they got the comparing screenshots. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and even that's not fair. You know why? Because they're not showing you full screen. If you go from 4:3 to 16:9 and add the HD up, then it's even more different. It's even, you know.
Yeah, because it wasn't even in widescreen.
Right.
On,
They split.
on
They basically split the screen down the middle and shows you, you know, whatever.
But yeah, and then like I was just to reiterate, if the Wii U had Mario Kart Wii HD, New Super Mario Brothers Wii HD, Galaxy 1 and 2 Definitive Edition, Metroid Prime 3 HD, like that,
Right.
then
I'd
we'd
be calling
hypocritical.
BS on that.
But we've gotten all these new games, and then also now 2 remakes, and it's the 30th anniversary of Zelda, so it's like they had, you know, doing something special for that. Yeah, there's a little bit, I guess, for saying that, you know, I already have Twilight Princess on the Wii, and to buy the HD version, I guess I'm a little bit guilty of some hypocrisy there, but you know, in my mind, if they make enough changes, I'll just keep the pre-order and I'll just get it. If I see that there's not going to be really any vast improvements to the gameplay or to the controls or something, then I would definitely cancel my pre-order. So.
You know what's funny though? Like people want to selectively count the 3DS. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, what about you get the re-releases on 3DS? But you can't count 3DS for, you know, Nintendo games this generation. But you can count it to make it look bad. Oh, look at all these.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, because the 3DS isn't really this generation,
Yeah.
except for when we got 2 Zelda remakes. on the
Right. Then you can
3DS.
count it as generation. Then you can count it as being relevant to the console.
But
I think
again, that
that's
was
pretty
N64 games ported to, or converted to basically a GameCube level visuals on the 3DS. Add 3D, make tweaks to the to some of the areas and some of the mechanics, and you know, it was more than just make it look prettier. So
Yeah, even on that level, it's not just a up port or an up res or any of that. They go in and they do stuff to the actual gameplay in the game on all occasions.
So, and Tantalus has been working on this game for over a year, so I'm guessing there was a lot of retexturing and stuff needed to be done.
Oh yeah, some of like the level of detail. I'm looking at some screenshots. Is like borderline ridiculous. Like in the scene where they show Zelda in the cloak and she's looking out the window.
Mm.
In the HD version, you can actually see like all the engravings in the wall under the window.
Yeah, it's not just a messy blur of brown and green.
I think the best picture showed it was like when you're in the woods, like to get the Master Sword. There's like a circle of stone with the Triforce,
Yeah, that was the
and
best.
then those statues. Even it was the Dolphin emulator version. It was just like you could see where the textures, 2 different textures met, where of the grass there was like no blending,
Right.
and then the the stone barely was any texture in like the stone on the floor, the circle, and then the HD version, it was all new grass texture, all new stone. I mean, it just looked.
Yeah, the
It looks
grass is
significantly better.
night and day. Like before, it was just a brown and green, diarrhea splatter, and now it's like actual. It looks like grass. It's a texture.
And then we got the snow area. We didn't see Zoro's domain. There's a lot of areas that
Oh boy.
potentially could look even better. T, you said you gotta get out of
Yeah,
here pretty
I gotta
soon.
get out of here. Before I came on, the wife gave me another podcast look.
Okay. Well,
So,
let's just quickly hit Zelda U, and then you can leave, and then we'll talk about the Game Awards nominees after.
all right.
So I'll let you start with the 10 seconds of infamous new Zelda footage.
Was it 10 seconds? I don't even think.
Yeah, it's 10 seconds, including the final like 3 or 4. It's in the same place, and then the 2016 fades in.
No.
So it's barely like 6 seconds before.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, not much we can say about it other than a lot of the details people were pointing out, like the Sheikah symbol on his bag and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be fun to see where the story goes and what this Link is, and what's his origin in this game. And obviously the detail is just as awesome as ever with the horse. I don't think that's opponents. Probably not going to be opponent until later. But you can see like the grass parting and moving and reacting to the horse's hooves and stuff like that. That was pretty impressive for the weak you.
The way the grass is, it's almost like you could probably crawl through it, like for stealth or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you cut that grass? Like, I'm wondering, like, because that's one of the staples in Zelda, is you cutting grass. So
I hope so.
I wonder how that's gonna be affected. It's just so much detail. It looks like, I mean, we thought this when we first saw Wind Waker on GameCube, but this actually looks like an animated film, and motion like a game that you're playing.
It looks to me like the horse animation and like the muscles and the shadows on the horse. That's like looks better than any like 2D hand-drawn animation I've ever seen, and it's up there with a lot of the anime they use like computer CG to make 3D-ish shape anime characters.
Right.
And this looked like a blend of that. It looked like Studio Ghibli meets like CGI 3D anime, and the animation it's always been one of the weaker aspects of Legend of Zelda. I don't know, because when Twilight Princess came out,
the 3D ones outside of Wind Waker, the animation has not been the great. Well, even Wind Waker, it was still limited because of the style.
Yeah, when you're climbing the ladder stuff,
right.
But the horse riding on Twilight Princess compared to Shadow of the Colossus was just, I mean, it was a huge step backwards.
Yeah.
And it's always bugged me about the Zelda games when you ride a horse. Skyward Sword had the Loftwing, which moved really nice, but the horses they were just so stiff, and it just was terrible, and you had to hold up to run, and you don't have to anymore. But just seeing the horse run, the animation and the way the light was hitting, and then when the camera panned to the environments, it's just like I was shocked that there's not people saying that that's NX running on NX. There's no way that's Wii U, because to me that looks as good as PS4 or Xbox One games. Like, it just looks amazing.
They were, though. I think they were on the original footage from E3. I think people were saying that, and they think this is a downgrade because it's sunset and not like high noon or whatever it was in the 2 o'clock or whatever it was in the game.
Yeah, this was an upgrade.
Yeah, so
except for the timing, the lighting made it look like kind of yellowish and kind of
it's sunset.
Out. Yeah, it was a sunset. So when they showed the off-screen footage at the Game Awards, you could tell when they were showing the horse not run into trees, you could tell it was like a brightly lit day, and it looked so much more vibrant than the sunset in the beginning. So to me, it was the first time we saw direct feed footage in over a year and a half.
Right.
And it just reminded me just how awesome the art style was, and I mean, I watched that Literally, I've watched it 30, 40 times. I've watched
I
that.
watch it every day. I need it in my veins. I need it in my veins, man.
It's not crack, T. Come on.
So,
It might be.
do you got to get out right now, or do you wanna get Mike and Terrell's
I'll hang
thoughts?
around. I'm not gonna
Okay.
be a dick.
I know Mike. Mike's the biggest Zelda fan, I think, out of all of us. So, what did you think of the new footage of Zelda U?
Yeah, really amazing. The grass, like we were talking about, just so much detail in the horse's hair. The way it waves in the wind, and just really spectacular the way it looks. I also noticed how Link has this gigantic like broadsword.
Mm-hmm.
Back, and he has I believe a Sheikah symbol on his book that he's holding, on some kind of book that he has. And you could see his shield was like a wooden shield. Kind of like in the same vein of Skyward Sword, so I'm kind of thinking that probably means you can upgrade your shields, make them look different and be stronger, so probably means there'll be shield durability in this game, like there was in that game. So it's pretty much what I could get out of the trailer, but it just looked amazing. At what I'm gonna call trailer, the 10-second clip, but it just looked amazing and made me super excited for Zelda Wii U. But I could never not be excited for that game because I have the utmost faith in Nintendo when it comes to the Zelda franchise. So it was just awesome.
And does anybody think there's a chance that they're trying to mislead us by showing the sword be orientated like a right-hander would be using? Or do we think... Actually, I'm watching the Game Awards, and it looks like the sword's in the same spot. So, what do you guys... I'll get your thoughts, Terrell, in a second, but real quick, Mike and T, what are you guys' thoughts on the potential of Link being right-handed, and what does that mean for the control options in this game?
It's strange because, according to canon, Skyward Sword Link, the first Link, is right-handed, but every other Link since has been left-handed. So they might decide to keep if this game is right after Skyward Sword, as I believe it is, then they'll probably they might decide to keep Link right-handed for several games, and then go back into a different part of the time where he's left-handed. But we're not using Wii Waggle controls or whatever, so there's no reason to make him right-handed. If they do make him right-handed, it'll be purely because of story. They could, though, they could make an option for left-handed players or right-handed to pick which one you want if it's customizable, as I believe Aonuma, he kind of said like he wanted to make it a little bit like some other games, like what was those games again?
Skyrim, you talking?
Yeah. Like maybe you could. Yeah, like maybe you could when you start Link, you could decide whether he's right-handed or left-handed. Probably not, but whatever. I would assume timeline-wise that he would be right-handed. That's my assumption. And if not, then it would be they'll just make him left-handed and make Skyward Sword Link the only Link canonically right-handed. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's very possible this is a direct sequel to Skyward Sword.
Yeah, because there's so many clues to that.
I mean, this could be a direct sequel. Now that the world of Hyrule is formed, Link could just be like he could be a ranger, just going around and surveying the world and just living off the land and whatnot. And that would be very cool if it's a direct sequel, and that's what entails. I'd be very hyped for that. Yeah,
because all the land, they haven't been down on the surface.
Right.
So that would be, it'd be all new to them. So.
Exactly.
All right, Terrell.
Yeah, I'm over here just sitting here and quietly like, all right, I see how it's gonna be. All right, it's cool.
We'll go to the guy who hasn't played all the Zelda games last. So.
Put you in the corner.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'll remember to do that next time I have a Pokemon podcast. I'll just put Juice in the corner. But yeah, to give I'm gonna just do quick thoughts because I think T really.
I'm hanging on, but I can't leave until I hear everybody because that'd be rude. So don't rush. Don't rush. Do it. Take your time.
Well, no, I actually I mainly agree with that whole idea of it being a sequel to Skyward Sword. Like, I like the idea And I kind of hope, and I don't think this is the case, but it would be kind of cool if the Wii U version gave you the option of motion controls or the gamepad. Because a lot of people like the Skyward Sword playstyle, especially considering how well they got it. So it seems kind of like a shame to only have it for one game and be like, oh, okay, we're hands off again because don't worry about it, it's fine. That was just a cool experiment we did. Don't worry about it. We're going back to regular controls.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see the one-to-one come back, especially now they know how to do it, and they've had all the time, which also would explain if the game needed a whole bunch of extra development time to incorporate the ability to not only do the one-to-one but also do like normal A/B button control kind of stuff. The footage looks great. I don't think that's really anything I need to go into detail about. And I want a fucking title for the game and the release date.
Pretty much.
All right. I guess we'll just end this segment here. They confirmed Wii U. They said 2016, but didn't give any kind of seasonal month or anything. Do you guys feel like this is a November holiday title? Do you think they're going to try to get it out for the May title? What's your gut feelings?
Holiday.
Yeah, it's going to be holiday because it wouldn't make sense for them to put it out a couple months after Twilight Princess HD.
That's true. So that means potentially coming out in 2016, November-ish. Would they release the NX at the same time as a big Wii U title? I don't think they would, so I think it's going to be very interesting when we find out the answer to that question officially.
I don't think the NX is going to come out till at least like early 2017 or something like that. I don't think it's coming out next year, if that's what you think.
I don't think they're going to miss the holiday. It won't make any sense to pass up on the holiday sales.
I don't think they'd miss the holiday, but going off the PS4, what they could do is do a Europe and America holiday 2016 and then hold off Japan till March or whatever, like they did with the PS4, and I mean it seemed to work out. So, but we'll see.
Right, I'm just saying that I don't see the NX being ready for 2016 itself, but I also don't see them holding it all the way to the end of 2017. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but that's how I see it.
None of these consoles are ready when they come out, honestly.
Especially this gen. This gen's
right,
terrible.
especially this gen.
The 3D Mario team, they usually take 3 years on a game, and 2016 will be 3 years after 3D World, so
that's right.
I think they could have some games ready, but...
retro? Well, I mean, retro. Donkey Kong Country is all we got from them, the whole gen.
Same thing, so... But let's not get into the NX talk. This will be a good time for Ms. T. Why don't you just give us your highlight from the Direct and then do your sign-off?
I mean, I guess my highlight would be Star Fox, because that's the game that's new and we're going to get soon. And I'm glad that it looks a lot better. So that and maybe probably Fire Emblem Fates, close second.
My man.
What about Final Fantasy Explorers? Excited for that?
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy Explorers. I'm definitely going to get that. I think I mentioned. See, we've done this so many times in other podcasts.
Yeah.
So I just want to maybe give something a little different here. But yeah, Final Fantasy Explorers for sure. I'm looking forward to that. I hope a lot of you guys get it so we can play online.
I'm getting it, definitely.
Yeah, I might check it out. We'll see.
Yeah, I went to we'll see for me.
But so I'm going to get out of here before I
better
get
divorced. Get to to the wife and kids.
Before she served me divorce papers. But
oh no.
Well, thanks for joining anyway.
Glad to be on Juices Loose. So you guys continue on to have fun.
All right, man.
Play Nintendo fools.
All right, God, I didn't think my plan was to skim over the Direct and talk about the Game Awards.
I don't know why you thought that was going to happen.
I know, but actually, we could save the Game Awards nominees.
Yeah,
for another. We could say that for another podcast, actually, but.
It depends. I mean, we'll have. Well, I think next week will be the holiday stuff, but.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions, and then I want to get your guys' like top 3 highlights from the direct, or 5, or 3 or 5
Yeah.
highlights from the direct, and then we'll go to the questions because there's quite a few in here.
Okay.
So we'll start with you, Terrell.
Well, the first two are pretty obvious. The Pokemon Virtual Console announcement. Hopefully, we get Gold and Silver pretty soon because it's actually Pokemon's anniversary next year too. So, and I heard there's a tease for something big, and I'm hoping to God it's a console game. I don't think it is because if we're getting Pokemon Tournament, I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do anything else. Whatever. So Pokemon Virtual Console, Fire Emblem, Fates. It has to happen. Probably Star Fox. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. What about you, Mike?
So the biggest thing for me in the direct was, without a doubt, Final Fantasy Explorers. I thought it looked awesome. Like just like the whole thing of going out with up to 4 people, or you can even put monsters in your party to make up for the people that aren't there, and questing, and over 100 quests, and like you can change into other Final Fantasy characters like Cloud and recover your health and do special moves. So I thought that was really awesome, and I really got excited for this game, mainly because of this direct. The other thing, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I wasn't even interested in it, but after they showed the footage of it, I realized like it's actually not like, I never played a Mystery Dungeon game before, so I don't know if it's like those, but the
Yes,
fact
it is.
Okay, so, but the fact that you can, that there's actually a story. I like there's a story that they're trying to stop Pokemon from being turned into stone, and that they're all working together. And they showed like really cool scenes of like legendaries walking in your party. So that's just pretty freaking cool, like walking around dungeons with legendaries in your party, and that you can play, or you can meet up to every Pokemon in the game. And I don't know. It just made it much more appealing to me, because before I had completely written the game off. Because I'm not even into Pokemon anymore. I bought X and I haven't done anything with it. I beat like 3 gyms and I stopped playing it permanently. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a good showing for Pokemon. It was like a different style of gameplay, and I got interested in that. And Star Fox looks awesome. I'm excited for Star Fox. The graphic overhaul. I'm trusting Miyamoto to put in some surprises and more than polish. Hopefully that multiplayer mode. And anything. The other thing would be Dragon Quest VII. I haven't played that, and that's coming out on the DS. I was really disappointed that game Stella Glow, I think it's called. It's coming out in like 3 days. It's an Atlas game on the 3DS, and it wasn't in this direct, and I think that's foolish because it's an Atlas game. It looks awesome. It's like a Final Fantasy Tactics game kind of thing, like with a little anime influence, and I'm shocked that Nintendo didn't announce that since it's coming out in a couple days. But and then the biggest, and then the other thing I have to talk about is Cloud's reveal in Smash Brothers. I have played Final Fantasy VII. It was a 3-disc game. I played on the original PlayStation. Never thought in a million years that was my last possible pick for Smash Brothers would be Cloud. And I thought that was amazing. I thought it was a surreal moment, and I thought he looked really good. And it just made me so much more hopeful for when the actual ballots come out, because if Cloud wasn't part of the ballot, then it's like, wow, who are we going to get? You know what I'm saying? Because he was probably a big pick on that. He was probably one of the things that the fans voted for on that ballot. So, but I think Sakurai had it all worked out beforehand, which is really cool.
Yeah,
so,
I'm glad you brought that up, because I forgot that we were going to get back to Smash, and I guess I'll give my highlights, and then we'll talk about the potential December broadcast for Smash and what that might mean. So I'm just gonna. Mine was easy. Zelda U. Those 7 seconds or whatever was the highlight of the direct for me. It just to see it again, direct feed after like 19 months or whatever, and it just looks amazing. And I just can't wait for that game. And then the Splatoon update was kind of a surprise, being more free content. I thought that was really cool. Star Fox. During the direct, I didn't get hyped, but now everything else I've seen after that got me pretty excited, and I'm really excited about the Super Mario Maker online portal for finding levels. You can actually search by theme, like Super Mario Brothers 3, and a bunch of other requirement parameters, and you can narrow down levels by like the automatic levels are always automatically the most popular. If you notice, you go to the most popular, it's all the automatic levels, which I hate. I think they're stupid. They're probably really fun and challenging to make, but they're just, to me, it's not fun to play. So having this option to because I'm always on my phone at work, and that we got downtime all the time. I'm looking for stuff to do and news, so I can go on there and search for some levels and select them to play. When I get on Mario Maker next, I'll have them, the ones I selected, and I can play them. And I think it's better than wait until I get home and then having to search through levels when I can already have them assigned to which ones I want to play. And so to me, that's not anything to it's not an update of the game, it's not new content or anything, but it's just a really cool feature to my favorite game this year. So I'm pretty excited for that. And next, I guess we'll just talk about the Smash Brothers. We didn't really talk about Cloud and the impact of that, and then the Smash broadcast in December, which almost everybody agrees is going to be the Smash ballot. Could possibly be the announcement that that's the last stuff we're getting, and who knows what it's going to be. So I guess we can kind of predict what that might be about, and is there any other character now that Cloud's in the game? What other possibilities did that open up for what you think we might see? So we'll start with Terrell, and Terrell had a pretty amazing reaction video. If you want to check that out on his channel, it's pretty entertaining.
I was that reaction video, I'll be honest, is way more due to the ridiculousness that it's Cloud of all characters than probably my actual fandom as a Final Fantasy fan. Because I like Final Fantasy, but I'm not oh my god. It was more of you're gonna put the first Final Fantasy game's flagship character, because that was Final Fantasy VII was the first non-Nintendo Final Fantasy. So it's kind of ridiculous that you put the flagship character from that game in Nintendo's quote unquote most exclusive fighter. I say Smash 4 has been a whoring out party. Because Ryu was ridiculous in its own right. I mean, it's fucking Street Fighter hasn't been on a Nintendo console. The only reason why that one wasn't as ridiculous is primarily because A, the 3DS did get Street Fighter 4 technically, and B, Capcom's been okay with Nintendo. Their relationship is a little bit better than I guess I would say. Well, and that might explain why there was so much Square Enix representation in this direct, if you notice, because you had the Final Fantasy stuff. I think, if I remember correctly, Dragon Quest is Square Enix, Bravely Second is Square Enix. There was a lot of Square Enix in this direct.
Oh, I totally forgot about Bravely Second, yeah.
So they only mentioned, they didn't show anything.
Yeah, they just mentioned it. They just mentioned that it is coming in the West, and it's spring 2016 or some shit. But that's my whole thing. It's nuts to believe that character got in, and that was my shock. I was like, that's not fucking real. Cause it's so, that's like putting in Sly Cooper or some shit. You'd be like, what? How did you do that?
Well, there was Final Fantasy games on Nintendo systems before, unlike Sly Cooper. So
yeah, but it's
different. But Cloud's never.
Yeah, that was the point. A lot of people say it would have made more sense if it was a character from Final Fantasy 6 and back. But the fact that you picked 7, and granted 7 is the most well-known of the Final Fantasy games, but you picked the first non-Nintendo one, and it's wow. But as far as what that could mean, I feel like Sakurai, and a lot of people are speculating we're going to get at least 3 more. We'll get 2 more characters. I'm thinking one of them will probably be another old school classic. So I would bet it'll probably be a Konami character. I feel like Simon Belmont is one of the only old school characters they could do.
Yeah.
Either Simon or Snake, and something tells me that it's probably it makes more sense for it to be Simon Belmont, because we did have a Castlevania on the 3DS. And I feel like people would flip more if it was Simon Belmont. And the other one I think might be an indie representation. Now, whether that's Shovel Knight or that's Shantae, I don't know. I mean,
It's gotta be Shovel Knight. He's got his own amiibo.
Shovel Knight go with a dick personally. I don't care. like
Yeah.
you, listen after my Shantae craze, you can't. There ain't no other indie character I want. That it has to be Shantae in my mind.
Shovel Knight hasn't been out long enough. He doesn't
I don't-
have the history.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. If you notice, even the characters he's used so far, even characters that are ridiculous like Cloud and Ryu, they all have old school gaming cred. Shovel Knight doesn't, like, at all. Shantae's been around since the Game Boy Color, so, and I know she's been pretty popular on the ballot too. So I know it wouldn't shock me, but that would probably be one of my best. If that shit comes out, I'll be in fucking tears.
You better do.
What would you do if Goku was one of the characters?
Well, that won't happen because Goku was primarily an anime manga character before anything else. He has
Yeah.
games, but
I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out.
No, absolutely not.
But I think
Like
it's.
over 20 games.
I'd be so fucking mad.
I just think that Nintendo, in their, their old age, they're looking back at the history of video games, and I think they like to. They don't have a problem having a character represent, it has history being in their Smash Brothers game because Cloud has a lot of history. Was it almost 20 years ago now?
Yeah.
So I think character like that in this game seems to be a tribute just to video games in general and video game characters in history, more so than any other Smash Brothers or any other game. So I think it's great. His moveset looks awesome for Cloud, and then like getting back to what you're saying, I would rather see it be a Simon Belmont or like a Bomberman, somebody from the old school gaming, the good, the good years, the great years, the golden years, whatever, the Super NES. I personally don't have a character I can think of from back then that I just would think would be awesome in there. Because almost every character I grew up loving is a Nintendo character, and they're all represented. So, the only other thing that could be potential, I mean, it's not likely, but like Lana from Hyrule Warriors or something from a successful collaboration game, or somebody from like Tekken or Virtua Fighter or something, something along those lines I could see. But let's.
That actually might explain those amiibo. I mean, not amiibo. Those Mii costumes, actually.
Yeah, because they got Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, which was confusing as fuck at the time. And maybe that's what it is. It's like, well, let's give Sega some slight representation. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Twilight, an hour and a half late.
I'm done. I'm done. It's over. I quit.
He heard us talk about Smash, and he's like, I'm going to join this. What's up, Twilight? And then he's muted.
Are you fucking? Where is the quit button, Juice? I need to press it like 8. That's ridiculous. I'm done.
So if you feel like chatting, take the mute off, Twilight. We're just going to discuss the Smash December broadcast.
Yes.
So we can berate you for being late.
I don't think it's crazy, honestly, for Nintendo to work with Microsoft, and the reason is because the head of Microsoft said that he would love to put Banjo and Kazooie on Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it has enough votes, I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't reach out to them and say, you know what, let's work out a deal and get Banjo on Smash. Because I mean, Nintendo has been great with all the companies in the past couple of years. Like Microsoft's praising them. They had a good relationship with Sony. Now they've got Square Enix back on track. And even what was that developer just recently said they would start working with Nintendo again if it was beneficial. Ubisoft, I think it was, right? Didn't they say something like that just recently?
Yeah, but we don't trust Ubisoft, and they got a trophy. They need to sit their asses down.
Yeah. But I know everybody can't say Ubisoft, but I'm just saying, like, I think Nintendo is like really on good relations with everybody, and I think if the demand was high for it and they felt like it was doable, they could do something like that. So I wouldn't be 100% shocked if Banjo-Kazooie made it into the game. I think that would be awesome because he's from the N64 Rare era, and that would be a huge coup for Nintendo. And maybe even Microsoft can get something out of that as well, like advertisement for a future game, whatever. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that out, but I was never a huge Banjo-Kazooie fan, even back in the day. I just thought I didn't think it held the candle to Mario 64. So for me, I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it. And talking about Ubisoft, I'd rather see Rayman in there than Shovel Knight because Rayman has a lot of history in gaming. Even though I don't.
To me, it makes more sense because at least the last Rayman game was on the Wii U. Like it wouldn't be like.
They've had quite a few Rayman games on Nintendo systems. So.
Well, yeah, almost all the the Rayman Origins was on the Wii, and it's on I think it's on the 3DS it's on the 3DS, and it's on. So it's like that's justified. Banjo, it's like, and even with Square Enix, I mean, we're at least still getting games on Nintendo consoles from Square Enix, versus like Banjo-Kazooie, where it's just kind of like, well. He was a character that used to exist on Nintendo. We're just like, no, get that shit out of here.
He's part of the N64 era, and everybody remembers that very fondly. And when Rare was on Nintendo, Rare did amazing things. So a lot of people are looking for a Rare representation in Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
I can understand it. I
wouldn't start a petition about it, but it wouldn't be my favorite announcement. So, what else do you think? What do you think the Smash broadcast is going to be? Just announcing new characters, or what else? Anybody have any other thoughts of what else they could be announcing or discussing in this?
A few new stages, probably some new music tracks, and a release date for Cloud.
A release date for Cloud. Probably improve the tournament mode.
Yes. Please.
I forgot that it was in there.
Exactly, that's the problem.
What did they mess up? Yeah, you couldn't just do a bracket with your friends. You couldn't set up a bracket. That was.
Yeah, it's still fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, I can't think of anything other than what you guys just said. Like, I don't know what else they could, except they could confirm that this is it. No more new content. This will be the last of it, possibly. But so, what do you think is the maximum amount of characters, with including Cloud, that we'll see in Smash 4 from here on out? What do you think's the maximum?
You mean how many more?
How many more do you think they'd add, including Cloud, to the current roster?
How many do we have?
I don't know.
I don't think you mean in total. I think you just mean in terms of.
Do you think it's gonna be 3 more, 4 more, 5 more?
Including Cloud, 3. I think we'll get 2 more. I think we'll get. As I said, I think we'll get 1 more old school representative and then probably an indie character.
I think it's going to be Cloud and then the winner of the Smash ballot. If Cloud isn't the winner, I think we're only going to get 2 more ever. Unless they bring back like Wolf or a returning character. But I think as far as brand new, never been in Smash, Cloud and 1 other, and then potentially a 3rd being like a returning character.
Yeah, that seems pretty safe. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolf got announced like during December, because it's like, to me, it's like you can't have almost every other person from like Melee and Brawl that didn't make it, and then not, because the only 2 characters you haven't really brought back would be Wolf and Ice Climbers, unless I'm missing one.
I think there's 1 more, but
in Melee.
I guess Snake technically.
Yeah, Snake. Yeah, but
I think they have all the Melee characters now.
Like there was Young Link, there was Pichu.
We're not counting those as pieces of shit. We don't care.
Because Toon Link fills in the Young Link.
And everybody's.
And Pichu is worthless.
Well, I'm saying a lot of people love Melee, like still their preferred.
No one likes Pichu. I like him as a Pokemon. I don't like him as a character in Melee. I'll say that.
All right.
I don't think anyone's hankering for him. But go ahead.
We need to get on to these questions and comments because they're building up.
Another possible pick would be King K. Rool. He might make it.
Twilight had to mute because I was hearing an echo from when Mike was talking.
Can I?
Yeah. Twilight is just trolling us.
I feel like I need to lay down. Like
We were having technical difficulties even before the podcast started, and
Yeah,
the
but
T's
this-
mic didn't work when he got in, so
what is
Can
this?
y'all hear me now?
I can hear you, but
Yeah.
it's not the best quality. But
Ah, shut up. You can hear me fine.
I'm hearing a lot of static with it.
Hold on.
We're like what? Almost 2 hours in the podcast.
Yeah,
Hey, y'all not done yet, man. I'm here.
Oh Lord.
All right.
What's
So
happening?
we were just wrapping up our thoughts on this Smash broadcast, what we expect.
Okay, so y'all talked about Banjo-Kazooie already, right? And Cloud, good stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what do you?
Talking about
What-
King K. Rool.
Yeah, no one mentioned him.
Mm-hmm. Who do I think is going to get in next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do want Shovel Knight. I don't know if anybody's talked about that yet, but I really do think that an indie representative would be appropriate for Smash Brothers. I think Shovel Knight is right to take that position.
We were just talking about that before. Like, I don't think
Oh.
that one game, barely a year old, deserves that. I think they tend to be putting in characters that have a lot of gaming history.
Yeah, but you're also missing one thing. Cloud is in Smash.
But
Yeah,
Juice,
but Cloud has a 20-year history in gaming.
Yeah.
No, but he also has a 20-year history of helping PlayStation kick Nintendo's ass. So
Yeah, but I always looked at that as a
I think Cloud and Shovel Knight had equal chance to get in Smash Brothers, but for two different reasons. Nintendo clearly loves Shovel Knight. Cloud is clearly like the competition's mascot, damn near. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, in my opinion, I think that, you know, if people are talking about getting the damn Squidlings into Smash Brothers, I think Shovel Knight deserves at least a shot. You know,
I was just gonna. I was gonna say, Juice, you wanted the Squidlings in the game, didn't you?
I don't really care either way. Like, I don't think they would have the right moveset, personally, but
I mean, but you got Duck Hunt Dog in there. You really, there's
Yeah,
really
they
no
could-
argument against, unless it's like Master Chief or Nathan Drake. There's really no characters that anybody wants in Smash Brothers really that are off limit at this point. Off limits. I mean, unless it's an anime character like Goku or Big Daddy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all
Hey man, Namco Bandai has that license on video games.
It's not a gaming property.
It's not a popular, so you got to stop saying that. Pokemon at least has been a gaming property for a long time, but they didn't even start off as gaming. But you could kind of try to make that argument, but nah.
Well, no. Pokemon started off as a gaming property. The anime came out later.
Yeah.
Really? I thought Pokemon started off as a trading card game.
No, that came out later.
My bad.
Red and Blue came
I'm a
out.
Pokemon guy.
But either way,
Also, Pokemon is the exception though, because Pokemon was a huge Nintendo franchise, you know, regardless of how old it was. Like
Yeah.
it was selling like hotcakes, so they had to include that. Everybody would hate them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So, what do you think they're all gonna? Twilight, what do you think they're the December Smash broadcast? What do you think that's just going to be new characters, or do you think there's any other information or?
Well,
stuff?
they called it a broadcast, so it could be anything. I'm hoping it's gonna be like a final reveal of like a cool new mode or something more than just the characters. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the ballot being revealed. I mean, that's the last thing we've been waiting on. That plus one other big surprise. You know, because, I mean, they've been supporting this game we've been seeing Smash straight for like 3 years. So it's going to be some kind of grand swan song for their active support of Smash Brothers, you know. So I really couldn't give you an honest guess. I'm thinking maybe a new mode or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and be interesting to see what the winner of the ballot, and if they just give the winner, if they give like the top 10 or 5, whatever, it'll be
For real.
interesting. I wonder when it will be because they didn't really say. They just said in
Mm-mm.
December.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I think? I think they're gonna have. I think Sakurai is gonna have 1 or 2 characters already, and then he's gonna pick like 3 from the poll, and then say they'll come in the future.
Yeah, because there's speculation that it's supposed to be like 6 more characters or something like that.
And when did the voting end? Like a couple months ago?
October.
Yeah, October.
It was only October, so that didn't they say like to make a character, like it took like a year or something or 6 months or whatever?
Yeah, like 6 months. So Cloud was done in advance. Cloud wasn't from the ballot.
Yeah,
So,
Cloud,
I mean-
they've been working on Cloud, man. They've been working on that. And the new characters are going to be DLC for next year. You know how we had to wait 6 months between Mario Kart DLC?
Mhm.
That'll probably be what Smash Bros. And I don't think each character takes 6 months. I honestly don't. If the game itself only took a couple, like a year, 2 years and a half at the most, the characters won't go like, let's do one character 6 months and then another character another 6 months and then another character another 6. I really doubt that's how it works.
They could probably get all 3 done in
In 6 months.
So, all right. Yeah, it could be. I mean, for all we know, it could be in 2 weeks or a couple. First week of December we could be getting this, or it could be the end of the year. We'll have to wait and see. So, I guess we'll definitely do a podcast before and after that, discussing that when that comes out. So let's just we got questions and comments. I'm going to stick to reading mostly the questions. We in 360 with me asked if any of us are going to take advantage of any Black Friday deals.
No,
I personally, I'm going to get on Amazon in the morning, and if Rise of the Tomb Raider for the Xbox 360 is under $40, I'm going to pick it up. That's the only thing I'm really checking for.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about Black. I don't really participate in Black Friday like that. But if there's like any kind of amiibo thing going on, I would do that. But other than
If there was like a buy 3 for $25, like I think the year before, I think a lot of people will be swarming.
I might do that, but I might not. I mean, who knows?
All right, let's see. We in 360 was making a joke about Linkle because he thinks she's attractive, but he's only 16, so he's allowed to be attracted to younger.
we're not going into that again.
No.
I'm glad I missed that part.
All right, Fruit Puncher. He says he was somewhat disappointed that Xenoblade Chronicles X is not part of the Game Awards show. Would you guys? All right, we were going to talk about the Game Awards nominees, but we spent so much time on the Direct. We'll answer this question next week. We're going to go through all the nominees. I think a few categories. There were some snubs and some games that just don't belong there. So we'll talk about that next week. Fruit Puncher. I'll have to change the title of this once it uploads because that was initially going to be a topic.
But yeah, you're totally right. Xenoblade should totally be a part of those awards.
Yeah, there's some games that aren't out yet that made it, so I don't know why Xenoblade.
Yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, they're totally.
We'll talk about that next week because there's some BS in there. But King Grimpachi wonders if anybody here has played Fallout 4.
No.
I know he has. He ain't really
It looks. I mean, the visuals look. In some areas look fucking terrible, but it's not all about the graphics. But then the gameplay, like he selected enemies. You can like select a body part, and he selected the head, and shot the girl in the face 4 times in the head, and there's just like this little cheap-looking blood splatter, and then the character was still alive, and I'm just like, well, I thought this was like a shooter, but it's like I don't know. It just looks. It's not fun to watch. I don't know. Maybe it's fun to play.
Shooter RPG kind of thing, and it kind of because there's like elements of an RPG, like leveling up and getting experience and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I played Fallout and not the new one, but I played Fallout and like I was bored within like 3 hours because it's just a barren, it's like a desert and just run down buildings and you're just fighting the same enemies over and over. It did not appeal to me. Like I got bored of it so fast.
All right, I don't think any of us here are big Fallout fans. So let's. Flapjack's got a question. Do you think it was a good idea for Nintendo to release so many RPGs so close together? with Xenoblade coming in December, followed by Yokai Watch, which that's already out. Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Explorers, Bravely Second, Dragon Quest 7 and 8. Well, Dragon Quest 7 and 8 are coming
in the summer.
Summer and after summer. Bravely Second, I don't know if they
That'll
said
probably be like an
They do
April.
that a lot, though.
spring.
They do that. Those RPGs and stuff, like the real deep games, typically come out around winter time to the spring. Because one year it was Fire Emblem and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and then another year, well, this year you had Monster Hunter, and in the beginning of the year, and they had another RPG come out. I can't remember which one it was. At least 3DS wise. I mean, those types of games typically come out toward the beginning of the year.
I don't think it's a big. I don't think it's an issue anyway, because not everybody plays all these types of RPGs. Like,
No, exactly. That's probably why they come out around this time.
I mean, obviously, Final Fantasy Explorers is aiming towards that Monster Hunter crowd.
Yeah.
Not
I
every
mean,
month.
you get over a month and a half between Xenoblade and Final Fantasy. I guess then Fire Emblem comes a month later. So
There was Persona Q. There was the Odyssey game. You know, I forget what it's called.
Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah, Etrian Odyssey. There was a couple of them. They slip under the cracks because they're not really covered. You know,
But they're also niche games. RPG is a niche genre.
Yeah.
People keep thinking, oh, but you know, Fallout's an RPG. No. Fallout's an action adventure game with like RPG
elements.
RPG elements.
Not even
mainstream.
RPG. Role playing game elements.
the elements of RPGs are mainstream, but the actual genre itself is pretty niche.
Yeah. Well, they already discarded the RPG genre and called it JRPG now, and like games like Mass.
That's because that's where all the good ones are at. Western RPGs are just
garbage.
Shooters and action adventure games with RPG elements. Like, oh, you can level up your gun. Well, that's great.
Yeah. Those are the popular ones, but not often not the better ones, but they definitely get the most attention. So
yeah, I'm about to say they never had the better ones. Yeah.
This question from Anderson Archilla, and I was actually thinking of this exact thing when I was talking about Zelda U earlier. He thinks it's inevitable that Zelda U will be compared to Shadow of the Colossus, but would that really be fair?
No way.
The only thing that makes me think of it is the animation and the personality of the horse.
Yeah, I mean, what else is similar? I mean, are you not going to run around the fields looking for monsters to pop out of the ground?
Yeah, like I said, I think just the kind of just the openness of the environment, and then the horse and the character with Link has the hood on, rides the horse with just a lot of attention to the animation. I could see that, but I don't think the gameplay will be at all comparable. But and then Shadow of the Colossus was just dreary and lifeless, the world, and I think Zelda U is gonna, when the sun's at its highest, it's gonna be bright, it's gonna be colorful.
Right.
I don't really think there's a whole lot of comparisons there.
The world isn't going to be limited to running around on a horse. Like we've already seen it in the E3 or whenever the first we witnessed Zelda U, where we see Link using the sailcloth and gliding around and
Game Awards.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Game Awards, right. But yeah, like there's no comparison. You're not going to see Link jump on top of a giant and like slash his back and stuff. You know? I mean, there's really no comparison.
No, but Shadow of the Colossus was a achievement on the PS2, and Zelda U looks like quite the achievement on the Wii U. So I guess those are the only other similarities I could think of. Wii and 360 with me says he's playing Fallout 4 right now and it's awesome, but he thinks every frickin' thing's awesome. So literally every game he gets, he thinks is awesome. So
that's good. That's the way to be.
I wish, like I told him, it'd be nice to live in such ignorant bliss, you know? Like everything you play is awesome. That would be. Would that be awesome? Because that's like the whole.
Well, at least he's not like bashing everyone else. What they
that's good.
Like,
but if every game is awesome, then is any of them awesome? Because it's like if everybody's Superman, then nobody becomes Superman because everybody's the same. So
yeah, it depends on the context, I guess.
I'm glad that he's enjoying it, and good for him. So
good to be positive about everything. It's always better to be positive.
Yeah, I'd rather have somebody like that than somebody who's
And
always,
someone who thinks what they play is awesome and what you play is automatically.
or they're just always looking for the negative in everything. So.
Yeah. Wow.
But there's also an issue with thinking everything's awesome. And the people that defend the Star Wars prequels, even to the point where they can't even admit the acting's bad, then you got a problem. So.
Yeah, the acting. Oh man. Yeah, that's a different subject altogether.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But let's see. Anderson Archilla must be talking about Star Fox. Wouldn't dogfighting online be boring? And if they did something squad-based, wouldn't the poor sap who plays as Slippy be shot down within the first 5 seconds every single time?
Well,
let me answer the first part real quick.
Okay, you say it.
Star Fox 64, the dogfighting was so boring that I played it twice and never again. Like, it was just so terribly boring and no action because you only had 4 ships maximum. There just wasn't anything going on. So unless they could find some way to vastly improve that, I would rather them not waste any time on that than put that in the game, because the dogfighting.
I'll give you the flip side argument, because I had many hours of playing the multiplayer in Star Fox 64 with my friends, getting shot down and then jumping out of the R-wing before it explodes, and you're on the floor with the gun, like hiding in the buildings.
And that's Star Fox Assault, though.
No, in Star Fox 64, you can be on the ground.
You didn't get out of the ship in 64.
Oh, you couldn't? Oh, all right, maybe. All right, well, whatever.
I guess if they've given no indication that you can get out of the ship in this new game.
Yeah,
well, you don't really need to. The ship is so freaking versatile.
But in Star Fox 64, the dogfighting with just 4 players got real old real fast because that's all you did.
For you, but for me and my friends.
But you got out of the ship, so you're playing Assault. That's completely.
No, listen, Star Fox 64, you can unlock, when you get all the medals in expert mode, you can unlock them on the floor with their blasters. I guess you didn't get out of the ship. I guess you'd probably just start with them in the blasters or whatever. But I remember doing it. And you could, you could hide among the level, and you could shoot the ship, and it'd be hard to find them. We had a lot of fun with that. There was a couple of fun levels too. X Dimension and Corneria and whatever. And I don't know. I guess maybe because it was that time, the multiplayer time of the N64. But I was able to get like an hour or 2 hours out of that multiplayer mode when my friends came over. So I don't know. We had fun with it. So I think in a new Star Fox on the Wii U, they could definitely have a really fun multiplayer mode. If they really work on it and really make it good, like where you could do. I mean, you have your R-Wing now is capable of transforming, and all the vehicles are capable of transforming. So there's a lot of things they could do with it. And
yeah, that would add an element where you can actually run around on the ground or fly. That could add. But it would have to have.
Mike is right. It is. 64 does have that ability.
Really? Wow.
I'm looking at footage of it right now.
I'm sorry, Mike, for doubting you, but like I said, I only played it a couple times. But I think if they were gonna do online, it'd have to be a decent bunch of players. I think you can't just have. I think you'd have to have at least 12 players to kind of make it interesting, but that's just my take.
Well, yeah, then it'd be freaking ridiculous.
I just kind of wished that. Can I give my quick opinion on what I really wish Platinum would have been able to do with Star Fox?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish Star Fox wouldn't have been so traditional to what Star Fox 64 was. Cause I really feel like this is just like kind of Star Fox's greatest hits. And I know they're doing a lot of stuff with the vehicle transformations and stuff, but I really wanted Platinum to just be ignorant about, okay, we're Platinum making a Star Fox game, but this is still a Platinum game. I wanted the ships to like transform into mechs and wreck shit. Like I really did. And for them to have a multiplayer mode where you could like have your own customized R-Wing that transforms into a mech with a sword and you cutting other mechs up and Bayonetta style. I don't know. I would have liked that. But that's just me.
You're putting a sword through the heart of my Star Fox nostalgia, man. Like
I know, but I mean you can't what's the thing that Nintendo haters say all the time?
They don't change.
You can't work off nostalgia all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can, but sometimes it's cool to both have nostalgia and bring something completely unexpected to the table. I mean, look at the Wind Waker. You know what I'm saying? Look at Federation Force. Look at all these quantum shifts in these. I mean, look at Metroid Prime. These quantum shifts in a franchise. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need that to breathe new life into it, and I just don't feel like this game, even with its platinum behind it, I don't feel like they really breathe new life into the game. Now I will have to play the game to know that for sure. You know what I'm saying? But it's not what I'm seeing right now.
I'm gonna say this as a counter. You gotta understand, since Star Fox has taken such a huge break, I don't feel like this new game needs that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need it. It's just it would have been cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can understand that.
It doesn't need it, and I'm looking at gameplay of the game as we speak, and it does look rather awesome, even given the fact that it's a traditional, very traditional Star Fox game.
I think they just need to get Star Fox back into the main eye, and then I feel like the next game could be the one that
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like Star Fox 64.
No.
The levels are new, and there's new mechanics and new it's just the same story.
But it did.
I'm talking about strictly gameplay wise. Strictly gameplay wise, it's just an expansion of what Star Fox has always been. Of course, that's how it's supposed to be. They do that with Mario. They even do it with Metroid. They do it with Zelda. So that's fair. It's just I would have thought it would have been cool for Platinum to put their own a little bit more of their own little touch.
I'm about to say, yeah, because Star Fox, with the whole idea of going to different planets and whatnot, Star Fox has the ability to get really ridiculous if it wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, I guess I would say,
I'm sorry.
I'll just say, after Star Fox Adventures, them trying to throw that into a different genre, and then Star Fox Assault taking them out of the cockpit and getting away from the Star Fox that I grew up loving. I wanted them to get back to just a core, true Star Fox game. So from my perspective, I still remember the first time I played the first game on the Super NES when it came out, and I mean it stuck with me all these years, and I wanted them to return to what Star Fox is, because they have been departing from what it was that was the first two games. They kind of haven't made one like that since. So for me,
I'm glad they didn't turn into like some kind of cover-based shooter.
No, that's why I can understand your viewpoint, Juice, because of that. Because I understand that for a franchise like this that's been going through so many weird-ass changes, returning back to the basis for Star Fox was probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
I think so. For this iteration, let's see how it does, and then...
Yeah, and then they can build on this.
All right, we're about at the 2-hour mark, so I'm just gonna pick like 2 more questions, and we're gonna wrap this up. Let me find the one I was just looking at too, because we were just talking about Star Fox. Anderson Archilla says, anyone hoping Fast Racing Neo will actually sell well? I think everybody.
Yes.
There's a lot of people are talking about it, but they never speak with their wallet.
Yeah, but we'll put it this way: we're hoping it sells well, because then it'll be like, hey man, can you get Shinnon to work on that new F-Zero for us? Just bring them on as like a full-on developer, guys. That's all we want. We want Nintendo to just take them under their wing.
It's like a high-speed racer isn't like the most popular, but all the work they put into it and all the modes with online and 4-player split screen.
It deserves to sell well.
I mean, even if you don't care about futuristic racers, there's got to be a part of, somebody that thinks, hey, I want to support them just for all their hard work. I'm not the biggest fan of futuristic racers, but I do, like I just said, I do appreciate everything they've done to push this game, push the Wii U, and get online everything. So I'm definitely getting it, and I hope other people do, and I hope the online and everything's fun. I don't know if anybody else plans on getting it.
Yeah.
Mike or Twilight?
We're talking about Fast Racing Neo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if a game like fucking Shovel Knight can sell well, Fast Racing Neo, that's got a broad appeal to me. I think if Shinnon and Nintendo push it right, it'll be
was a success. But we'll have to see.
I've never really been into racing games. I did like F-Zero on the Super Nintendo. I did enjoy it. So if they don't release it as a digital-only game and I can buy it, down the line I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have an external, so but they didn't reveal the file size yet. I mean, it potentially could be a smaller game. I would think it would be under like 5 gigs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. All right, so King Grimpachi, what do you guys think of Nintendo doing more remakes or HD versions of games? He thinks they should.
I don't mind it, but they need to be spaced out.
Yeah, they've been doing all right, spacing around all right. They've been doing all right. We already had 2 Zelda remakes on one console. You know, but it's made okay, sort of, by the fact that we know they're working on a brand new Zelda that's going to probably blow every Zelda in the past out of the water. If that wasn't the case, I think already it would be unacceptable. The Wii U has had enough, you know, droughts in terms of content as it is. You know, just like any other console, this generation is just. I don't think they need to be going overboard with the remakes. They got the virtual console for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got backwards compatibility. They got virtual console.
They got all that for a reason.
I would say in the future I wouldn't mind. It's like the Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart levels. How the old ones eventually come back in the new games. Like eventually, I guess on the NX or beyond, if they had like, oh, we're gonna make a Super Mario Galaxy collection. And completely remake the visuals or something, and with that gameplay, you know, I'd be excited about that. But I don't think they need to do any more than they already do. So like 1 or 2 per generation to me is okay. The fact that this is the first time in HD, so
we need to get that Wave Race updated, right?
What?
That Wave Race.
Wave Race.
Gotta run, y'all.
Nice. That was my first game I ever owned in N64, Wave Race. I got it for Christmas. So anyway, you guys listening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say with the Wii U and the NX, like in a perfect world, the NX will be so popular and like have so much content and people will rally behind it, unlike the Wii U, that Nintendo will keep it going for like 6-7 years or something. That's like the perfect thing. Then they could make all of the virtual console or eShop, whatever they want to call it, they can really focus on building that up over the course of NX's life cycle and releasing all the remakes on there. Mario Sunshine and things like that. Like, where the HD remakes aren't games we're expecting, but rather they're just like, oh, here's a little surprise for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Mario Sunshine, but it's not just the game, it's also HD remastered, Like, things like that. That would be the optimal way, I think, would be to use the NX. So like, the NX's focus would be, having that connectivity between all of Nintendo's console and handheld titles, and, at the same time, they would have new content coming and companies on board, making titles for their systems. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think it's a good idea to build up hype for like a Super Mario Sunshine. I think that should just be like a treat for games. That's how I feel.
That's a good point. And also, oh man, I was reading a question. I thought I had a great thought, and then it just completely escaped me.
Of course it did.
Oh, okay, I remember. Unlike a lot of, like Sony, they don't really make the same games they made on the PS1, PS2, whereas Nintendo still makes sequels to most of their franchises. So getting a remake or an HD re-release of Galaxy is less important or less impactful when you got a brand new 3D Mario game coming out around the launch, probably the launch of the NX. You don't need that remake, because you got this awesome new game. And same with Zelda, and Mario, like what's the other one? Like Mario Kart. They never need to bring back Mario Kart Double Dash maybe. Some people would like that, but basically they just put some retro tracks in their new game. So it's like they don't really have this need to remake games because they still make new versions of that series. I think it lessens the need for a remake or remastered. Anybody else? Anybody feel that's...
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, because they're making Star Fox Zero. Yeah, I would love them to redo the original Star Fox and add some texture to the polygons.
I think it would work better for games for franchises they forgot for a while.
Yeah, like Wave Race. I mean, yeah, I'd love a new Wave Race, but if they just took Wave Race 64 and Blue Storm and did HD remasters and put it on a disc, that would be cool. But I'd rather have a new Wave Race. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But anyway,
like I feel like if they can get Steam behind the NX and get all these companies, developers on board, and they'll have a flood of titles on their system, new titles, then they can put those older games at a reduced price on the eShop, and they'll sell really well. And that's how you'll get the HD remakes instead of advertising God of War HD remake, play it looking better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be something that's like, oh, you got to get this. It's HD remake. It's like, well, here you go. Here's something for our loyal fans. If check this out. We redid this, and we think it's awesome. Like, if that could happen, if that kind of gaming world could exist for Nintendo in the future, I think that the NX would be a huge success.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, I think we're going to wrap this. We're over 2 hours. There's still questions. I apologize to...
this has been a weird-ass podcast.
Yeah, because I thought we were just going to give them the direct, and we went pretty in-depth. And by the way, nice talking to you, Twilight. Thanks for thanks for popping in.
What the fuck was that?
But
Oh my God.
that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
We'll talk about it later.
I'm sorry couldn't get to everybody's questions. We just ran long here. There was I haven't had Mike on in a while, so we had to I didn't have really talked to you about the direct much, so I turned into more of just the direct discussion. So I'm going to change the title for anybody watching this live. It's just basically going to be our Nintendo Direct impressions and Smash broadcast discussion. So yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for everybody who's watched this whole time and submitted questions, and sorry to the people I didn't get to your questions or comments, but just time did not permit. So we'll do the sign-offs, and we'll start with Mike.
Hey guys, I'm really glad to be on the podcast again. If you guys want to check me out, my YouTube channel, NW Order for Life. I just uploaded a video recently about Female Link. If you want to check that out, my impressions on that, and that's it. Yeah, great talking with you guys, and looking forward to being on the podcast again soon.
All right, Terrell, final thoughts.
Hey guys, same Game Freak. Just realized apparently today is Miyamoto's 63rd birthday.
Oh yeah, 65th I think.
65th? Oh my bad. So happy birthday to Miyamoto. This has been a very I guess interesting is the best way to describe this.
Yeah, we had guests pop in and pop out.
We are having. We're not even at 69 yet, man. This is gonna be some interesting shit when we get to 69. But other than that, fun podcast. It's been interesting. Can't wait until some games come out, man. Xenoblade's less than a month away.
Less than a month. It's like less than 3 weeks.
Don't remind me.
So,
So anyways, life's a game. Play to win, and we'll catch you guys next time.
and I just wanted to say also Miyamoto's 65th birthday or 63rd. I'm pretty sure it's 65th. Did you see the awesome cake that he was cutting into it was layered and it had like Mario themes?
No, I did not see that.
It was pretty awesome.
I was about to say, I don't think I saw it either.
That was pretty cool. I've seen it on Twitter.
No, it's 63rd. I am right.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
You always gotta be right, man. You always gotta be right now.
Well, maybe you should get bit information.
The cake, it was awesome. So I'm glad we could do a podcast on the legend that is Miyamoto on his birthday. So I mean, if it wasn't for him, I mean, who knows? I might not even be a fan
You might
of
be
video
playing
games.
Fallout right now.
I don't know. I might not be playing video games at all because Mario, Super Mario Brothers, and The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, you know what? If it wasn't for Miyamoto, we might even have video games. Period. Because of the crash of the video game industry.
I feel like the Super Mario World ending theme needs to be playing right now.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up, and we'll see everybody next week. Hopefully, we'll probably discuss the Game Awards nominees and kind of break that down. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the Juice is Loose number 67. Hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week.